number 2, okay? Did the Bucs have the absolute best draft in the NFC South, Greg? But before you answer my question, let's go through the NFC South teams one by one and kind of go through what they did, what they added, and how that kind of stacks up for their attempt to dethrone the Kings of the South currently and for many years to come, in my opinion. So we'll start with the Panthers, Greg.
So Panthers got Ted McMillan. Yeah, went receiver at 8. Second year in a row, they take a receiver in the first round. But kind of makes sense if you're trying to maximize Bryce Young, trying to get the most out of that pass game. I think McMillan immediately becomes their number 1 receiver. He's their best receiver. Should be like Brian Thomas last year, like a 8-10 touchdown rookie type. Leggett did well for them. I think he'll be good for them, but I think that's good pick. Yeah, I mean, they went edge, I think, with their next 2 picks, which is also definitely a position of need for them. They added a lot in free agency, so they've put a lot into getting better. Didn't lose too much in terms of free agency or retirement and stuff like that. So no, Carolina, under the circumstances, felt like they did pretty well. Traded around a little bit. Where do you want to go next? Atlanta? You want to go New Orleans? What do you want to do?
Well, do you think the Panthers did enough to be the team that, fights for 2 in this division, or?
I would think so. I mean, I think they've added more to who they are than Atlanta has. I think New Orleans is probably, technically New Orleans was 4th this past year. They've probably done the least right now to add to what they have. So no, I think of Carolina is kind of, maybe you'd say they're a nod behind Atlanta for who would be 2 right now in the division, but within a game of challenging Atlanta for, at that point, that's probably what, 7-10, 8-9, something like that. Mm-hmm. And if you're Dave Canales and you think about, the trajectory of the second half of last year, they probably weren't a very good team in the first half of last year. But if you think of how they were in the second half of last year and where they, if you just extend that for a year, you go from being maybe the worst team in the NFL to, 5-6 wins. And then, you add to that. And next thing you're looking at 7-10, 8-9, anything more than that, they'll be a really good story. I'm not sure I expect that of them. But still in a fairly easy division. You go 3-1 against Atlanta and New Orleans or something like that, and you're playing a 3rd place schedule. It's not that hard to take a big step forward.
Greg, do you believe that Bryce Young is an NFL quarterback? I get it. He had got benched, came back, played pretty well. I don't know what the strength of schedule was in the second half of the season. I don't remember who he beat, or if there was any games where it was legitimately carried the team.
Yeah, I mean, you think about what he had. I mean, his rookie year didn't really have a good supporting cast around him at all. And then, you go out and they upgrade the line in front of them last year, start to get some pieces. Even those didn't necessarily take. Obviously, the running back was hurt the whole time. Mm-hmm. That's definitely a help. Jatavian Sanders can help. So now, to have McMillan in there, they've added some pieces. They need to start winning games because of Bryce Young and not just win games when Bryce Young is their quarterback. So I think the idea, you think about Canales and what they were able to do his year here, you want to start getting 300-yard games. You want to start getting games with more than 2 touchdowns, and he hasn't had that many of those. And I think if he can start doing that, you get up into that 20 to 25 touchdown range. Okay, that's kind of the bare minimum for people to be excited about you as a young quarterback. And if he doesn't, this is year 3, kind of lost the job once already, was kind of fortunate to get the resurrection and the second shot he got in the second half of this past season. I don't know if he gets that again the next time. It's still just Andy Dalton there. It's not like there's somebody else who's really going to take it from him. But for Canales, for that front office, that coach, that whole regime to stay in control there, they need to keep moving forward. And they have, probably a decision to make this year, because once you get past year 3, now you're eligible for an extension as a quarterback. There's not a lot of middle ground for NFL quarterbacks right now, where these young guys, even if you haven't won a playoff game, even if you haven't been a Pro Bowler, there's that, gosh, we have to pay this guy to keep him because you don't know who else you can get or what else you do. So there can be some overpayment there sometimes. I think there are a lot of good quarterbacks that get great quarterback money sometimes. But no, this is a big year for Bryce. This is a year where he either kind of stakes claim to this team and helps them get to be a competitive team in the NFL, or it can go the other direction if they're not careful.